So pre-calc today, before we took the 3-3 quiz, we just did example 3 on the board. And this is if you were in hours, let's see, 4 and 7. If you're in hour 1, then we did example 4. So I'll walk you through that one here in just a little bit. All right, example 3. So we analyzed this one first. Let me take these off for you. Hang on just a second. All right. So our y-intercept happens when x is 0, and when x is 0, we get 0 on the top and -4 on the bottom, and so that is 0. So I'll go ahead and graph that point. For our x-intercept, the shortcut is to set your numerator equal to 0. When we solve that equation, we also get 0 for x. Our vertical asymptotes are coming from the denominator, so we factored the denominator. X equals 4, x equals -1. Okay, I'm going to take and graph those real quick. Okay. Horizontal asymptote. We have degree 1 here and degree 2 on the bottom. So we have a lower degree on top than on the bottom, so it's automatically y equals 0. From here, you're going to do an xy table. We're interested in what's happening on the left side of -1, so like -3, -2, and so forth. If I put in -1, I'm not going to get a y value. That's an asymptote. I know 0 is 0, so I'm going to do 1, 2, maybe 3. 4 is an asymptote. And then on the other side of 4, so 5, maybe 6, and so forth. And so what I have here, I have my 2 asymptotes right here. And then I have x values in between and outside of them chosen. Then you're going to be plugging them in. And I encouraged my students today to not do this with a calculator, to try this by hand. So I'm just going to plug x right into this right here. So for the first one, I'll have -6 over -7 times -2. And that's plugging in -3 everywhere that's highlighted yellow up here in that equation. And so that's going to be negative or positive 6 over 14, which is 3 over 7. If I put in a -2, I'll have -4. Then I'll have, let's see, -6 and a -1. So that's going to be, actually, these are going to be negative, sorry, -2/3. I have 3 negatives, so it's going to be negative. When I put in 1, I'll have 2 and then -3 and 2. So that's going to be -1/3. When I put in 2, I'll have 4, -2, and 3. So that's going to be, what, -2/3. If I put in 3, I'll have 6, -1, and 4. So that's -3/2. And then for 5, I will have 10, 1, and 6, so 5/3. And for 6, I'll have 12, 2, and 7, so 6 over 7. Okay, we're going to graph those. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, down just a little bit. -2 down a little bit more. So this piece is going to be coming in like that. 1 -1/3, then -2/3, then -1.5. Now, this piece in the middle, it can cross the horizontal asymptote. So I told the hours today that they might want to also include 1/2 just to see what it's doing between 0 and 1. Sorry, -1/2. So let's put that in. That's going to give me a -1 over And then negative 1/2
Bus 105, bus 105.
minus 4 would be
Bus 107.
negative 4.5.
107.
And negative 1/2 plus 1 would be 1/2. So we have negative 1 over negative 9/4. Oh, sorry. Negative 9/2 times 1/2. And let me erase some of this. I'm making kind of a mess here. Okay. So that's going to be negative 1 over negative 9/4, which is 4 over 9. Okay, so that's going to be like right in here. So you're coming up here, you're coming down here, and I didn't do that very good. Let's try this again. I'm going to come in, and then I'm going to kind of go like that. So it looks more like a negative x to the third. For the last piece, I'm going to go to the right 5 and up almost 2, and then just below a little bit, and there's the last piece of my graph. The domain. Your graph goes all the way up to negative 1. It's between negative 1 and 4, and it's to the right of 4. Okay. If you don't have example 4, here it is. This one's a lot more straightforward. It's fairly easy compared to the last one. The y-intercept's 3/2. That's what happens when x is 0. The x-intercept is negative 3/2. That's what happens when you set the numerator equal to 0. Vertical asymptote is coming from your denominator, x plus 2. Let me clean that up. And then the horizontal is y equals 2, and that's because you're comparing these leading coefficients, 2 and 1. Then we just filled in with an xy table and went from there. Okay, hope that helps. Hope you guys are doing okay at home. Holler if you need anything.